Fact 1. Disneyland's famous Pirates of the Caribbean ride used real skeletons. The engineers from Disney took one look at the fake skeletons that were initially brought in and thought that they weren't creepy enough. This might be because prosthetics in the 1960s weren't as convincing as they are now. To offer a more authentic experience, Disney engineers enlisted the help of the University of California, Los Angeles' anatomy department for real skeletons. Gradually, they replaced these real skeletons with fake ones, but many believe that real skeletons remain in the attraction. Either way, this creepy fact about the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is as fascinating as it is scary. Fact 2. Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street is based on a real story. Director Craven revealed that the inspiration for the iconic slasher film came from a story he read from the LA Times. A boy was having disturbing nightmares and refused to sleep for days out of fear. The same night he succumbed to exhaustion, he died in his sleep, but not before screaming for help in the middle of the night because of his nightmares. Fact 3. As many as 50 serial killers are on the loose in the United States. This number is according to the FBI. However, some, including homicide archivist Thomas Hargrove, speculate that around 3,000 to 4,000 serial killers remain active in the country. Fact 4. It is common for children to hear voices. Apparently, parents don't have to freak out if their children can hear voices. Around 8% of children do, which is as common as having asthma or dyslexia. Hearing voices is definitely creepy, but at least it's perfectly normal. Fact 5. Every day, a person consumes around 1 to 2 cups of snot. More mucus travels into the trachea than it leaks out the nose, so most of this ends up at the back of your throat. This creepy science fact might gross you out, but it's completely harmless and normal. Fact 6. Your bed can have up to 10 million dust mites. Dust mites love warm beddings and dead skin cells. This makes your bed an ideal home for them. They are microscopic and multiply up to thousands or millions. If there's a lesson to be learned from this creepy fact, then it's washing your beddings regularly. Fact 7. A person sweats around 1 cup per day. That means your bed absorbs around 26 gallons of your sweat every year. That's another creepy fact reminding you to wash your bed sheets as often as possible. Fact 8. Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of the Dolls, is one of the most haunted places in the world. This small island south of Mexico City is a frightening place. Perched and nailed onto the island's trees are little dolls that are said to be housed by the spirit of a little girl. According to the legend, the island's caretaker found a girl who drowned in mysterious circumstances. The caretaker discovered a doll floating in the water, which he hung on a tree to appease the drowned girl's spirit. However, this show of respect did not work, and the drowned girl's spirit continued to haunt the caretaker, causing him to hang more and more dolls in order to temper her anger. Sometimes, tourists even say they can see the dolls move their heads and whisper among each other. Fact 9. The Zoroastrians leave their dead in special towers to be eaten by vultures. While some may find it creepy, it is simply tradition for Zoroastrians. Their funerary practice involves leaving their dead on top of towers called the dogma. Zoroastrians believe that the earth, water, air, and fire are all sacred, and thus burying or cremating the dead would spread impurities to these elements. Leaving their dead exposed to the elements might horrify some, but it is a sign of respect for their followers. Fact 10. Aztec priests believed that the tears of children could stop droughts. Aztec followers believed in the power of human sacrifice, and many of their rituals included sacrificing women and children to serve their sun god, Huitzilopochtli. When they experienced drought, Aztec priests sacrificed children because they believed their tears could call on the rain. Fact 11. The Devil's Bible exists, and it's a contract between a monk and Satan. Also known as Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible is the largest Latin manuscript known to the world. It contains a full-page portrait of Satan. People believe the manuscript contains the contract of a monk who sold his soul to Satan in the 13th century in order to escape execution. Fact 12. Decorations made from human bones adorn the interior of the Zodiac ossuary. If human remains terrify you, then perhaps you shouldn't include this Roman Catholic church in your itinerary when you visit the Czech Republic. As an ossuary, the Bone Church contains the bones of around 40,000 different people. These bones are all arranged in different forms, such as garlands, altars, and even a chandelier. Fact 13. People used hollowed human skulls as bowls and cups back in ancient England. Another creepy fact that dates back to ancient England is that cave settlers fashioned cups out of human skulls. They hollowed the skulls and removed the surrounding tissue until they could use it as a drinking vessel. That's certainly some food for thought. Fact 14. Ancient Romans believed that drinking blood would let them absorb power. Blood transfusion was a popular practice in ancient Rome. During gladiator games at the Colosseum, members of the audience would rush into the field to ravage the blood off of fallen gladiators. They believed that in drinking the blood of fallen warriors, they too would absorb the warriors' powers and skills. Fact 15. Alchemists used brain matter as an ingredient for an elixir of eternal life. In the 1600s, John French was an English alchemist who used brain matter for his concoctions. Another horrifying fact about his elixirs was that he stored it in horse manure for months and then drank it after. Fact 16. Being buried alive accidentally occurred so often that people invented safety coffins. Doctors often misdiagnosed ill patients, and this was common in 17th century England. Alice Blunden is an example. A doctor mistakenly pronounced her dead after she drank sedatives, and she was accidentally buried alive. This horrifying ordeal didn't just happen once, but twice. After exhuming her and finding her near death, they buried her once more, only for her to struggle in the casket, still alive, until she eventually succumbed to death. Fact 17. The Mutter Museum displays various mutations, tumors, and anomalies of human anatomy. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Mutter Museum showcases preserved internal organs, models, and equipment for biomedical research and education. The creepy stuff displayed is disturbingly informative, as their poster says. Fact 18. The floating specks you see probably aren't dust, but dead skin cells. This means that the air you breathe also contains dead skin cells. In fact, 15% of what you breathe in during a train ride is most likely the dead skin cells of passengers, including yourself. Fact 19. A person will shed around 40 pounds of skin in a single lifetime. Just like snakes, humans shed their skin too, but at a much slower pace. Accumulated, however, your shed skin will amount to almost half the average body weight. Fact 20. Your coffee mug probably has fecal matter on it. The creepiest fact about your office might be found in the kitchen. Scientists have discovered that 90% of coffee mugs are covered in germs. The culprit? Shared kitchen sponges. They caused 20% of these coffee mugs to test positive for E. coli. Fact 21. The Vent Haven Museum houses vintage ventriloquist dummies. Ventriloquist dolls can be quite creepy, and a museum filled with hundreds of ventriloquist dolls is likely the horror movie destination for many. In Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, the Vent Haven Museum houses over 900 ventriloquist dolls and other related pieces such as photographs and replicas. Fact 22. Museo dell'Anima del Purgatorio displays documents signed by haunted souls in purgatory. Museo dell'Anima del Purgatorio, or the Museum of the Souls of Purgatory, is a small museum in Rome, Italy. Their collection displays several documents and photos with handprints that they claim to be from the dead or souls stuck in purgatory. Fact 23. The most haunted island in the world is Poveglia, Italy. In the 18th century, the Romans quarantined patients with the plague on Poveglia Island. Those inflicted with the plague, along with other diseased individuals, were left to die on this island. They later turned this area into a mental hospital, which closed in 1968. Whatever other creepy facts about this island remain hidden, as Poveglia is off-limits to visitors. Fact 24. 18th century doctors believed that bloodletting was necessary to balance one's health. There are a lot of creepy facts about medicine, and one of them is that in the 1800s, doctors would cut through a patient's vein to drain them of a certain amount of blood. They believed humans could accumulate too much blood and therefore had to let the extra out for good health. Fact 25. King Charles II drank alcohol mixed with pulverized human skulls. Another creepy fact about the English king is that he called his drink the King's Drops, and he incorporated it into his diet with the belief that it promoted good health. Fact 26. Charles II watched William of Orange consummate his marriage. King Charles II was the uncle of William of Orange. He married his niece to the prince, and historians say that he watched over the two of them during their wedding night. It's a weird, horrifying, and creepy fact all in one. Fact 27. Women in the 18th century used lead as makeup. Queen Elizabeth I used Venetian ceruse to paint her face with white pigment. This makeup contains vinegar, water, and white lead, which was the pigment that gave the mixture its color. If looks could kill becomes a reality through this creepy fact, as being exposed to lead could cause poisoning and death. Fact 28. Muscovite palaces and courts had professional foot ticklers. A creepy and strange fact about Catherine the Great is that she was a big fan of foot tickling. Many of her courts were filled with foot ticklers. It is believed that they often hired eunuchs and women because it helped them become more aroused. Fact 29. Emperor Nero profited off of human urine. We can say a lot about the Roman tyrant, but one creepy fact about him is that Emperor Nero imposed a urine tax, charging merchants who sold pee. This is because human urine was a valuable and useful product back in ancient Rome. Fact 30. The Judas cradle was a means of torture where the victim was forced to sit on a spike. Medieval Europe had no shortage of torture devices. For the Judas cradle, the victim's limbs were tied with ropes as they were lowered onto a pyramid-shaped wooden device until it penetrated their anus or vagina. This horrifying fact doesn't stop there, as sometimes operators would add weights on the victim's legs to increase the pain. Fact 31. During mummification, ancient Egyptians removed the brain through one of the nostrils. This scary process is called excerebration. Ancient Egyptians were known to insert an iron hook through the corpse's nostril to draw out parts of the brain that they would then place in a jar. Fact 32. Doctors treated hysteria through a pelvic finger massage. In the early 20th century, doctors manually stimulated the genitals of women until they orgasmed. They called this hysterical paroxysm, and they believed that this could cure different kinds of female hysteria. Fact 33. Figging is a practice wherein ginger root is inserted into the anus or vagina. In ancient Greece, slave owners used figging to discipline female slaves. They would skin a ginger root into a phallic shape. The insertion causes an intense burning sensation and discomfort. The practice is mortifying, especially when it could last for an extended period of time. Fact 34. More than 150 corpses occupy Mount Everest. Plenty of creepy facts and horror stories surround the world's tallest mountain, but one of the most horrifying facts about Mount Everest is that the bodies of over 150 dead hikers remain on the mountain, buried under deep snow. Fact 35. People say a haunted radio station from Russia exists. UVB-76 broadcasts white static noises and occasionally picks up Russian transmissions, but nobody knows where this low-frequency radio station broadcasts from. It gets even creepier when you find out that it's been broadcasting since 1982. Fact 36. To this date, scientists have only been able to account for less than 10% of the ocean. The ocean comprises over 70% of the Earth's surface, and with only less than 10% of that accounted for, plenty believes the ocean to be home to some of the creepiest and most frightening creatures alive. Today's technology continues to advance, but the deep levels of the ocean still make it difficult to explore further. What's clear is that so far, the unknown continues to scare plenty of us. Fact 37. The golden poison frog has enough poison to kill 10 to 15 people. The Philibates terribilis, or golden poisoned frog, lives in the Pacific coast of Colombia. With its bright yellow skin and small size, the golden poisoned frog's appearance is misleading, for its skin is coated in deadly poison called alkaloid toxin. 1 milligram of this poison can kill around 10 to 15 humans. Fact 38. Some fish have human-like teeth. Fish have their fair share of horrifying facts, but the pacu fish from South America might be the creepiest for some just because of their teeth. Despite being related to piranhas, pacu fish have straight square teeth that look just like ours instead of sharp fangs. Pacu fish use their molars to crack nuts and chew through plants. Another creepy animal is the sheepshead fish, who also have human-like teeth. Their chompers are distinct with 2 large front teeth. They're a cross between amusing and horrifying, but aren't most fishes like that? Fact 39. Microscopic mites live on our eyelashes. One creepy fact that might change the way you perceive your eyes is the existence of tiny mites that feed on the dead skin cells around our eyelashes and eyelids. Everybody has them, but it is a problem if they amount to large numbers. If you notice any itchiness, roundness, or redness around your eyes, consider checking with your doctor soon for eyelash mite treatment. Fact 40. The Japanese giant hornet sting is so painful that the media calls them murder hornets. The Japanese giant hornet, or Asian giant, is the largest hornet in the world. While a single sting is not lethal, it is more painful than any other insect sting in the world, not that a single sting isn't terrifying. A single sting can lead to kidney failure and leave craters on your skin.